Okay. Let me just make sure. Hi, everybody. This is Joy Packard. It's Tuesday, October the 6th, 1 p.m. Central. We are right on schedule. That's how we work. And we have here an awesome guest I'm going to introduce to you. But before I do, I just want to make sure that this is, yep, there it is. We're live. We're live on Facebook. Those of you who are joining us, welcome. We encourage you to share the link that's on the page that's on right now. And this is going to be an incredible Facebook Live. And today, joining us is on this actual mini Facebook Live, I guess, mini podcast, I would say, is the lovely Kathy Burns, and she is a board certified professional organizer, author, and founder of Organized and Energized. And as a serial entrepreneur, she has led a life full of freedom, including living full-time on the ocean as a licensed captain. In fact, I just found out she lived pretty close to where 5 of my children live, so that made me excited. And she is here to give us a few organizing hacks that we can all use to create an organized life. In the last few 3 or 4 months, I've been working on that. And so she is an incredible woman. She's on Instagram. If you just go to her website, which we'll post later on, you'll see, who she is and what she's about. But I know that was a mini introduction, but Kathy, welcome. Maybe you can give us a little bit more a background of yourself and like how you got involved, in this amazing thing about, being energized and organized.
Oh, it's so good to be here. And hi, everyone out there. It's so good to meet all of you via internet, which just seemed to be where we're happening right now, right? This is our playground. So thank you so much, Joy, for having me on. As a professional organizer, it's all about helping my clients clear what no longer serves them. And for me, it started back when I was working on the ocean. I would pack my duffel bag and head off on a boat and head out to sea. And interestingly, when you get out to sea, you have just what you need to have, and you have to have it very organized. You have to be able to grab it quickly. And I would have a lot of clarity out there, realizing that everything that I had left behind in my apartment really didn't mean anything. It was so insignificant that when I would come back to shore after a few months, I'd go back into my apartment. I would go into a deep purge because I would realize I'd have a lot of clarity of thought that I didn't need this, I didn't need this, I didn't need this. So I would purge. Then what happened was when I got ready to pack again, it was even easier. It was even easier to decide what to take and pack and so on and so forth. So I went through a series of this, and I think that that's really how it became easy for me to become a professional organizer. I would have a lot more perspective on what was important and what was not. And quite honestly, our possessions can possess us if we don't kind of keep a tally on them and keep purging them, because we keep getting more and more stuff. It just happens. And if we don't let go of more and more stuff, then we end up possessed by our possessions, basically. So that's the long story short of how I got clarity on how I could help people really determine what's important in their life. And so as a professional organizer, I just work on the external environment of my clients. What's there that's helping them and what's there that's making them stuck and unable to move forward. That's why I call it muck. Muck is anything that makes you stuck or unable to move forward to do what you really want to do in life.
That's so true, and everything that you're saying. And I find myself, because we moved from Houston to San Antonio a year and a half ago. And during that move, we were moving from, a 5,000 square foot house to an apartment and, an 1,100 square foot apartment. And so there was a lot of, organizing and trying to declutter. And I'm still decluttering every single day because I know, like, kind of like what you say too, is like when our brain is full, like for me, I'm so obsessive compulsive. And, I think about, like, it's so weird. Like every morning I go, okay, I'm just going to visualize, like, I'm going to walk through my front door. Is my office okay? Is my bed, and I go through like each room in the house. And I don't know if that's part of, I haven't gone through your whole method, but I'm like, okay, like if you go into my family room right now, and I was showing this to my son, I said, if you look at every single item in this room, it's like very simple, very clean, and I don't feel stressed in this room, In fact, one of the things that I want in my final home, I told my husband, is a serenity room that just has, waterfalls and my salt rock that you see up there, things like that, because it just, brings a lot of peace. And I've noticed over the last, few years or whatever, as I've been doing this process, is I've had more clarity. I'm able to like, it's almost like in my head, like it's clearer so that I can bring other things in. Do you feel like, I know that, sometimes it's really hard for people to get rid of things. Like even my son was like, I'm like, you need to go ahead and get rid of this stuff. He's like, no, and he mentioned some of his brothers gave it to him. And I'm like, but what are you going to do with it? And he goes, I don't know. I just know that they gave it to me and I wanted to keep it. So as you're helping people, and especially we're going to go into talking about, just because with this pandemic and everything, there's a lot of people who are home, with their home office, that kind of thing. We want to talk about that. But do you feel like, I'm sure you have a lot of clients that probably come to you with this, everything that I'm saying, like just full of like stuff. Yeah. So like, how do you help them, with that?
Well, for starters, I commend you, because what you've done in your home is you've created a home for everything with a yard around it. You've created space. And when you get to that, I call it the zero space, where everything has a home with a yard around it, then you can walk into your den and you can see the one or two things that's out of place, and you can quickly take them away and you back to serenity, right? But, letting go is a muscle. And most of my clients start by, oh, no, I can't let go of that. I can't let go of that. My brother gave it to me. I can't let go. There's guilt around things that people give you. And as you begin the process of letting go of things, your muscles become built up. Right now, most people's letting go muscles are atrophied. They haven't now used them, and they don't, they have zero power. But once you begin to let go, and you let go consistently, it becomes very easy, because you feel what the added space in your life has given to you, and you're empowered to keep letting go more and more and more, because you feel better and better and better. You have more and more energy. You, like you say, you have more and more clarity. My book is How to Master Your Muck, Get Organized, Add Space to Your Life, Live Your Purpose, because I know that if you have space, you can be on purpose. And that's what we all really want in life. We want to be on purpose, right? We want to do what we feel called to do. But if you're surrounded by clutter and muck and just too much stuff, or too much stuff in your schedule, you can't get to your purpose. And then you're frustrated, and then you're exhausted, and then you're overwhelmed, so on and so on and so on, right?
Absolutely. I'm with you there. And I know that even just like, my husband laughs at me because I'm like, okay, I need to just go and, before I even begin working, I'm just going to make sure everything on my desk is, the way it needs to be, and that. And, I'm just that way. I've always been that way. I don't know if it's just because raising 8 kids and like everything matters for me. Time matters for me. And like, so if I'm, if my house is cluttered, if my kitchen is cluttered, even just like making I try and teach this to my kids, not been perfect, but like, the making, not everybody agrees with it, because I was reading something the other day of someone saying, well, I'm not going to make my bed because of this and this. And that's okay. But for me, when I am in a routine of, okay, I get up, and and if I make my bed and get, even just that is already kind of like telling myself in my brain, like, okay, it's the beginning of the day, you're getting yourself in order, you're getting yourself organized. And then I have to have like, things clear for me to be able to feel like I can work, And so, I'm just like that. And I think that it's an awesome thing, that I've incorporated into my life. And I wish that I learned it when I was younger, cause I've not been like a messy person, but I was kind of one of those that would hold on to certain things. And now I'm just kind of like, I'm going to take a picture of that so I can remember it. And then it's gone. And it was kind of hard at first, but then as soon as I release it, as soon as I either like give it to Goodwill or sell it on Marketplace or whatever, it's this, I don't know if I'm sure you have, and I'm sure people who are listening and who will be listening have that feeling of, I don't even know the word for it. Maybe you can come up with it, of just that. My husband calls it your sigh. He just goes, you just had this release of, of just feeling amazing that you just got rid of that, it no longer serves me. And so, Do you have a word for that? I don't even know the word that it would be.
Well, it's what I call this a zero space where you have all the room to breathe. You're just, you had to become organized because you had 8 kids. If you did not do that, you would have gone bonkers, and everybody in your household would have went bonkers. So, kudos to you. But it reminds me of one of my clients. She started out and she called herself Cluttering Katie. And she was Cluttered Katie, and we would do emails, and I would work with her a lot. And what happened was she just had so much stuff in her environment, and she only had 3 kids, but she had a bin per kid per grades, so 12 bins per kids, 1 bin for every grade in school, right? So we cleared her mind, and we cleared her life, and we cleared her home, and she has this one drawer in her bathroom that will always be empty. And that is her Zen space. And if anybody puts anything in her drawer, one girl tried to put a hairbrush in there. She said, forget about it. So if I'm feeling cluttered, I will go in and I sit in my bathroom. I will open up the drawer and I will look at the space and nothing's there. And that's her Zen place. So everybody has their own degree of how much clutter they can stand or how much space they need. For Katie, who's now uncluttered Katie, when she emails me, it's her drawer. She has that drawer she can pull out and she can feel great. So we all need some of that, and some of us need more and some of us need less. Some people can function surrounded by stuff if they just have the empty drawer, to each their own. That's why I love what I do, because there's no cookie cutter solution and everybody needs a different degree of space. And, we're all different, and that's what makes the world go round. It brings me joy.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we actually turned our house in Houston into an Airbnb. And so as I was going through each room, I was telling my husband, I know when I go to an Airbnb, I love it. I love the Zen feeling. I love it to not feel so much stuff. And so each room in our house has just like a bedroom, a nightstand, a lamp, and then maybe something to put their luggage in. And when I go through that house, I told my husband, like, this is the way that it should have been when we lived here, like very simple, because it feels so good. In fact, the people who are staying there right now, they're like, oh my goodness, it's just so organized and clean, and you have everything in the right place. And it made me feel nice because I've been working on it for so long. And like I say, when we moved to our apartment from Houston to San Antonio, we're in a house now here, a rental house here until our son graduates. But that small apartment was very simple. And my husband's like, I like it. I love it like this, And so that's the way that, we're going to probably retire, is just very simple. And so, okay. So I wanted to move on to a topic of, I'm sure many who are going to be watching, even watching now and watching on the replay, this COVID-19 stuff has made a lot of people have to work at home. A lot of people have, in fact, a lot of people who are normally going out into their everyday 9 to 5 are able to actually stay at home now. And so with that comes, some trickiness. If you have family, you have babies, you have kids, but specifically your office space. Because, a lot of times we think if we're going to the 9 to 5 job, well, I'm leaving home and, everything's here, but then I'm going to my office there, and the desk at the office is big and clean. And I'm, looking at this beautiful window, but now we're all home. And so I bet you have some great tips for our listeners of how to make, our workspace more of that Zen feeling that you're talking about, of that lady's empty drawer. So what kind of tips do you think you can share with some of our listeners?
Well, the main thing is make sure that you have all of your things that you need to work within arm's reach. And this is hard for some people. Some people are sharing a home office. Some people's home office is a bedroom that now has a bed and a desk in it. And Absolutely. So, in order to be productive, you really need to have everything within your, I call it, your $1 million real estate. Like if you're like in your kitchen, you have the triangle of influence. It's the same thing with your desk. Because what happens is when we're working at home, we're distractible. Say we need to go get water, we will be gone. Okay, first off, the average U.S. executive, when they leave their office, they're gone about 8 minutes. At home, do you have any idea how long you're gone when you get up and go get a glass of water?
What is it?
Take a gander.
I don't know, 15 minutes?
18 and a half minutes. You were gone.
Oh, wow.
Fido wants to take a walk. The fridge looks really good. Maybe you need to put the laundry in the dryer. I mean, it goes on and on and on. For starters, have everything in your workspace that you need to have so that you don't have to get up and go. I mean, seriously, even take a water bottle, which I saw you did. Bring your water bottle into your office so that you don't have to go out. Also, another thing is, you need to set standards for interruptions, because if your family does not respect that you're actually working just because you happen to be in the guest room on the desk, you'll be distractible. And for every distraction, it takes about 20 to 40 minutes to get back on task. Wow. So you have to kind of set parameters with your family that, yes, I truly am working. It reminds me of one of my clients. She's a school teacher and she's virtually schooling right now. One of her kids went running past behind her at full Monty while she was teaching class.
Oh my goodness.
We're putting her out into a shed. We're actually redoing a shed for her with some AC that she can actually teach kids in this shed, so that she's not doing it from the dining room where a kid can go, streaking through.
Oh my goodness. That's so crazy.
This is what we're up against right now. We're up against trying to be very... you got to be resourceful. So my book talks all about setting up all the different systems that you need to have to actually do business and, be a home-based business and be productive. And what systems do you have to set up into place? And I know on Thursday, we're going to talk a lot about that. I'm going to give the 3 secret hacks to be, busy women can be ultimately productive. And we'll talk about that a lot on Thursday. We'll go much deeper into it.
That's awesome. And so for those who are watching, what we're talking about is we are doing here a short Facebook Live to introduce Kathy to you with her awesome book. And you want to pick up that book real quick? Or is that a pickup book or is that a picture? Okay, yeah, it's an actual book.
It's a real book.
Yeah. And so I posted the link in the comments and you can see it there and, click on it. And is that free?
It's free. It's free right now, and it's been flying off the door.
Goodness.
All you have to do is pay a little bit of shipping and handling for me to get it to you, and it's an actual book. When you order it, you'll get the ebook immediately, and then you'll get this book showing up in the mail to you. So
wow,
and
I'll amazing.
It and everything for
so
you.
It's free. Just pay a small shipping and handling fee to get it, to pay for that part. That's incredible. That looks like a pretty thick book for free. I mean, show how thick that is. Wow. So I put the link in the comments, and usually on StreamYard, I'm able to put it underneath this. I need to figure out what they did, but we normally have it. But you guys have it in the comments. It will stay there. And so what we're going to do, guys, is this is a short Facebook Live where we're introducing you to this lovely lady who knows so much about being organized and energized. And as you can see, even just from her one book, she has so many other things that we're going to talk about, but it's going to be on the Joy Reveals podcast. And so those who don't know what that is, you look up Joy Reveals. That's the name of the podcast on iTunes, on Stitcher. We're going to be, we're actually in the process of putting it on every platform. So it's going to be maybe, I don't know, I think I counted 12 to 15 the other day, probably more. But we have my VAs working on, and myself working on getting our, so it's just going to be, I mean, it's so interesting to me because when I look at the analytics of this podcast, I'm just like, there are people like in Afghanistan and Turkey and I don't even know how they find it. It's only on 2 platforms right now, and it's just like, it's amazing because I don't know who they are. And it's amazing that the power of podcasting, I can't remember the stats. I'm going to have to look it up and maybe post in comments, but it has become one of, if not the number one way to get your message to the world, more than email marketing, more than Facebook, more than Facebook ads. It's amazing. When I saw that, I'm like, I got a podcast. I got to get back to my podcast. And so you guys know, those who follow, know that I have that podcast and I have myself on there quite a bit, but once or twice a month, I bring on an awesome guest and we're on there for maybe 30 to 40 minutes. And so this Thursday, we're actually recording it. It's not going to be quite live on the Joy Reveals podcast, but we're going to record it. I'm so excited because I learned just so much from just listening, even just today, learning these little tips. Can you imagine listening to her for 45 minutes? I mean, you guys are going to be so organized and energized. You're not going to know you're going to be like, okay, what else can I do? It's going to be amazing. So, Kathy, thank you so much for being on here today. And Thank you for your generous offer of being able to give this book for free. And those, like I say, who are listening, check the comments. Usually I have it down here on the screen, but it's not letting me do that, but it is in the comments. And make sure and share this video, because here's the thing. Sometimes I'm on here and I'm talking about Amazon. Sometimes I'm on here and I'm talking about whatever. But everybody needs this information to be organized and energized. It doesn't matter what niche you're in, whether you're a mom, you're a dad, you're a single college kid, whatever. We all need to learn how, especially in this day and time right now. We don't know how long this is going to be. We're working from home. So we may as well make our space, organized so that we can be energized. And so, is there anything, last minute thoughts that you want to share with the audience before we let you go and let them go?
Just realize that you all have the capacity to move forward. If you feel overwhelmed and stuck in your muck, so to speak, just start small. Do whatever you can do. And, we'll be with you on Facebook Live. I'm going to, or in the podcast, I'm going to be answering questions. So if you want to put comments below and you're just kind of stuck in one particular place, nice. I'm here for you. I'll do the best that I can to help you move forward. But don't be overwhelmed. Realize that you have the capacity to demuck your life. It might be slow to start, but one thing I can tell you is that you do gain momentum very quickly when you start releasing the stuff that no longer serves you. So ask yourself, do you love it? Do I need it? Do I use it? If you don't use it, you don't need it, you don't love it, out there. That's your tip.
That's a great tip, man. That needs to be on your a quote on a banner or something like that. So, all right. Well, thanks everybody for being here. Replayers, I know you'll be on tonight after work. Kathy, thank you again for taking time out of your super busy schedule, and I look forward to doing the recording on Thursday with you. So, all right. So have an amazing day, everybody, and we'll let you go. Take care. Bye, everybody.